Well, things we learned from Thursday's 4 rounds of voting from the Speaker of the House. Well, first interesting thing we learned was that Matt Rosendale of Montana, during his nomination speech for Byron Donalds of Florida, proved that he has no idea what the job of the party whip actually is. He complained that on what he called fly-in days, that members of the party's leadership, Republican and Democrat, will get together on the House floor and discuss anywhere from 10 to 20 bills, and then say that the bills would be passed without objection and will pass with unanimous consent. He said that he wants all bills that spend even trivial amount of money. He said millions and tens of millions, but with a $4 trillion budget, that's nickel and dime stuff. He felt they should be debated on the House floor, and that he feels that the process that is used denies the American people the chance to see these things done openly. If he understood, which he should, he's already been a member of Congress for 2 years, the party's whip job, then he'd know that the whip's job is to poll the party members as to how they are going to vote on a specific bill. If a sufficient number of members all tell the whip that they have no reservations on voting in favor of a bill, then the whip reports to the leadership that no members have voiced objections to the bill, and it's safe for a floor vote. As the party leaders confer with each other and determine that the number of members voting for a bill is sufficient for it to pass easily, say with over 80% voting in favor of it, they will dispense with a roll call vote and tell the clerk the bill passes without objection and with unanimous consent. Well, if Representative Rosendale had his way, almost every bill would face a roll call vote on the House floor. If you're old enough to remember the Iran-Contra hearings, I'm old, okay? You remember watching House members get up from their chairs and leave in the middle of somebody being questioned, then come back and somebody else would get up and leave. And the newsies, after this happened a couple of times, explained during a break in the questioning that the House members were leaving because there was a roll call vote they had to take part in, and they were going to cast their vote after or well before it was their turn to ask questions. Using Rosendale's logic, the House probably wouldn't even be able to pass the bills needed to pay their staff, much less a general budget, and certainly won't have time to address situations of criminal nature such as the Respect for Child Survivors Act, which makes it easier on the victims of childhood sexual abuse to give their testimony to law enforcement by requiring the FBI to consult with psychologists and child behaviorists before and during questioning of these victims so as not to traumatize them again during the gathering of evidence against their molesters. Objection was made to this bill, and it required a floor vote, a roll call vote. It passed the Senate, which is where it originated, with 98 of 98 present voting in favor of the bill. When it got to the House floor, 28 law and order Republicans in the House voted against it. This is also known as the Larry Nassar bill. They had 28 law and order Republicans that voted to protect child molesters. These are the people that are holding up the business of the government. And for what it's worth, remember, Rosendale's talking about fly-in days? Well, the House averages about 175 days per year in session, or 24 to 25 weeks. Mr. Rosendale, what's so important you have to fly home every weekend? You just admitted that of the 24 5-day work weeks that the House is in session, that you only work 3 of those 5 days. With a base pay of $175K a year, I want that gig. Shit! Sit on my ass and ask questions, vote on something? Shit! And actually have my staff do all the work, read the bills, what's it mean? Okay, yeah, I like it, no I don't. Unfortunately, there's another credible example of Republican dysfunction. In between roll call votes, Lauren Bobblehead, however you pronounce her name, from Colorado, was asked by a reporter why the speaker election was taking so long. And she said, quote, "The country is being destroyed in unprecedented ways, and you have to do unprecedented things to get it back on course. We're fighting to save America, and we won't back down," unquote. It would seem that what she's describing is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the longer that these for the most part, freshman and sophomore representatives drag out this spectacle of Republican disunity. They're actually ones who are attempting, at least, to bring about the unprecedented destruction of the nation, or at least the workings of the government. Technically, they're all members-elect. Even Nancy Pelosi, who's been there since Christ was a corporal, is a member-elect because House members cannot be sworn in until they elect a speaker. Now, many of the Republicans, in their nominating speeches for different candidates, so far they've had upwards of 4 or 5, I think, 4 for sure, to include Donald Trump, have complained about the omnibus spending bill that passed just before the end of the last Congress. What they fail to recognize is that that bill funds the government through the end of September of this year. Without that omnibus bill having been passed, the government would be forced to shut down because no funds were allocated for the functioning of the myriad departments and agencies, thereby giving them time to massage their massive egos in this pathetic fight to bring about changes that in reality don't have to be made. Like I said, most of these representatives involved in this fiasco only have 1 term under their belt or are still waiting to be sworn into their first term, so that just makes it more pathetic. And the longer this drags on with their opposition to Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, members of their own party may well start to approach the Democrats in the House to find a compromise candidate, a moderate to progressive Republican, well, moderate, there aren't too many progressive Republicans left, that can gather enough support from both parties to achieve the 218 votes needed to wield the Speaker's gavel. And in many ways, should that situation come to pass, they will not only not get the rule changes they want, but they will end up with a Speaker not at all of their liking, and will most likely find themselves relegated to meaningless committees where they can do little or no harm, and which they will not be anywhere near the spotlight that they so dearly love to bathe in. I personally find this whole situation rather hilarious. It was not that many years ago. Okay, it's probably 25 or 30 years ago anyway. It was the Republicans who made fun of the Democrats for being a thoroughly disorganized party, couldn't agree on anything. Well, today, it's the Democrats who are cohesive in their organization and the Republicans who are making a laughingstock out of themselves. My, oh my, how the worm turns. You all have a good night, good day, stay safe. I'll do another faceless video coming up. See you later. Bye.